Hello, everyone. Here is a
Hi.
mini episode. Hi.
Hi, many time.
Mini episode. So I thought that all of you will probably be annoyed that we talk about and mention the Oscars so many times. So instead, we're going to have this as a mini episode.
But that happens every year because last year we were, or whatever, the year before we kept talking about horror movies for Halloween in like 3 episodes, and Ben was getting mad.
I mean,
So,
I mean, fair enough.
so then, I mean, this year now it's the Oscars, but at least the
One
Oscars, I
episode
feel
is
like we,
fine. 2 episodes is a little much. 3 episodes, it's like, okay, I get it already. It's a little past, but I get it already.
but at least the Oscars, like it's been different. Like we talked about our predictions, then we talked about the nominees, then we talked about the winners.
Mm.
There you
But
go.
but yeah, so
Yeah, inspired by some videos I've been watching about like Oscars and snubs and stuff like that, I've decided to put together a personal list of this is my top 26 Oscar snubs of the 2020s so far.
All right.
So this is not like a ordering of preference of like which one is better than the other, or it's basically like a list ranked on just like on feeling, like what I think should have gotten in, uh, and what I think is a lot more egregious that wasn't nominated. Uh, I wanted to do this a little episode with you two because I feel like both of you have like seen at least a majority of these films, or at least some of them, and I hope there will be some agreement. I know there's probably a couple of them that you'll definitely agree with. So let me get started at number 26. So let's look back at the 93rd Academy Awards in the category of Best Actress in a Supporting Role. So I mean, this was the year of the COVID, so that weird year, if you recall, and
yes.
I'm fine with 4 of these. Jung Jung Young in Minari, who eventually won, which is my favorite of the 4. Maria Bakalova, fantastic comedic turn in Borat's subsequent movie film. Olivia Colman in the devastating film Father, and Amanda Seyfried is really good and very fun as Marion Davies in the film Mank. But one performance is the obvious one that really sticks in my craw and has really aged very poorly, and that is Glenn Close in Hillbilly Elegy. The one of the few films to be nominated for have a Oscar nomination for a performance and a Razzie nomination for the same performance. Sure, she's the better performance in the film, but that doesn't excuse her to be nominated in this shitty film. But now, who should replace Glenn Close? Who do I think should have replaced Glenn Close? That would be my number 26 pick, Helena Zengel, for her performance in News of the World. So I believe News of the World got into a lot of like technical categories, like score and cinematography and stuff like that, but not as a sort in terms of the performance. And I think the one thing that I was really impressed by with News of the World was this youth performance from young German actress Helena Zengel, who works well cast off of works well opposite Tom Hanks in the film, uh, as they go around the West from town to town. She's like a young German immigrant who was raised by Native Americans, and what really impressed me in the film is how she learned a native language specifically for the film as well. So I feel like there's a lot of technical things that she was able to do for the film to and learn for the specifically for the film to kind of help elevate that performance. So, and it's really hard. You're trying to you're overpowering a Tom Hanks performance. That's really something, I feel.
Yeah, I heard
Yeah.
she was excellent in that. I haven't
Personally,
seen the movie, but I
so
heard she was good in
personally,
it.
if I was the Academy Awards, I would take out Glenn Close. I know she hasn't had an Oscar yet, but I would take out Glenn Close specifically in Hillbilly Elegy, and replace her with Helena uh, Zengel
Plus,
for News of the World.
I like when they nominate kids.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Number 25. This is a performance from last year that I was stunned was not in too many awards contention. And it is Ingenue Ellis Taylor for her role as the grandmother in Nickel Boys. And at Nickel Boys, I've mentioned this before. It's very sad that Academy Awards didn't recognize it as well as it should have. It's beautiful cinematography, very evocative of like a Terrence Malick kind of film. It's a first person point of view style, which is rarely seen in most films nowadays. Is very unique, at least in this era. It's editing, but also for Ingenue Ellis Taylor, who played the grandmother for the character of Elwood. She has a particular scene when she's talking with the character Turner that I feel is really good, and she has like a lot of moments that are very heartbreaking and stuff like that. She was previously nominated for her performance in King Richard alongside Will Smith.
Well, that's right.
And she is good in that, but obviously that film is Will Smith's centerpiece for that film, and that's a thing that I think of, and I think the performance of hers that I would have loved to have happened is her performance in Nickel Boys. All right, number 24. We are going to the 94th Academy Awards. And the performance that I wish was nominated is for Catriona Balfe for her supporting performance in the film Belfast. She played the mother of the character who is basically the Kenneth Branagh's biographical stand-in. This kid growing up during the Troubles in Belfast. And I really loved Catriona Balfe as the mother, who was also playing off of Jamie Dornan. Finally gets a good role after the 50 Shades movies.
Yeah, definitely.
Uh, so I thought she would have been a shoo-in for an Academy Award, but instead, the Academy Award decides to give the nomination to Judi Dench, who plays the grandmother, which I feel like makes sense. They also nominated Kieran Hines, who plays the grandfather in the film. So it's not too unheard of, but I feel like Judi Dench at this point in her life has quite a few Oscar nominations under her belt, and I feel like it would have been better to just pass it on and give this nomination to Catriona Balfe, who I feel like is one of the more deserved performances in the film to be award recognized. What do you think?
Right.
Mhm.
I mean, it's better. I haven't seen the movie since it came out, but I do remember you being disappointed in that nomination. But Zach, what do you think?
I agree. I remember Matt was disappointed about that. I probably would have nominated her instead of Judi Dench because Judi Dench has been nominated before. I
Is a
thought,
previous winner too for her short performance in Shakespeare in Love.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was just a good cast overall with in in Belfast. I was impressed by all their work, and yeah, I agree. I thought she also should have been nominated, but she got nominated for a Golden Globe. Says here a Golden Globe, a SAG Award, and a BAFTA.
So she
So I
got all the
don't,
precursors, but not
but
it
not
didn't
the
make it
Oscar.
in.
Yeah, and didn't make it in. So I feel like she should have.
All right, so number 23, and I feel like I hope you guys agree with this one, but the performance that I picked probably would have been in the same year was Jeffrey Wright for his performance, supporting performance in the film The French Dispatch.
oh yeah.
Now,
Yeah, that would have been an interesting choice.
The French Dispatch is probably not one of my favorite Wes Anderson films. I feel like the more I think about it, the uh, I don't like it as much as I did when it came out. Although I still like its visuals and its stylistic, the style that it's going for, as well as what Wes Anderson is doing recently in his films stylistically. I really like that. Um, but I feel like the highlight of the film for me was Jeffrey Wright's performance in the third or fourth, depending on how you take it, his section of the anthology film.
Yeah.
And where he plays a character who is a lot more akin to like a James Baldwin kind of type, which I really like. That's the archetype that he went with for the specific performance, and I really enjoyed it. And he has a great monologue in the middle of the film, or in the middle of his section, that I really like. It also helped that his section was also the best of the three, and I'm glad that Wes Anderson saved his one for last. So there was that as well.
Mhm.
So yeah, Jeffrey Wright in The French Dispatch. Now at number 22, this wasn't going to be Oscar nominated. No way in hell. But this film was one of my favorites from the year 2023. So the performance that I have at number 22 is Glenn Howerton for his role in Blackberry.
Oh yeah.
He is so overly serious in the film that it is hilarious. And I really love Blackberry because it came at a time where we had a lot of these corporate true story kind of films. I'm thinking of like the film about the flaming hot Cheeto. I'm thinking
That
about
was
the
a good
film
movie.
about the Air Jordans. I'm talking about the film about Tetris. This was apparently a thing where it's like a biographical or somewhat true story about the making of something, and the business end of the making of said thing. Uh, Blackberry is takes it and kind of almost satirizes that kind of biographical genre, and I really liked it. I felt it was like a highlight, a personal favorite of mine from 2023. That I don't think too many other people love as much as me. Well, except for the Canadian Film Awards, which gave it Best Picture. And
What are those called? I learned that
Glenn
the other day.
Howerton did win his supporting performance for Blackberry at the Canadian Screen Awards.
I learned that. Oh, I learned what that was called the other day. It was like the Genie Awards.
The Genie Awards.
What was the Canadian awards you were thinking of?
The Canadian Screen Awards.
Oh, I saw something the other day that there was an award called the Genie Awards that are pretty prestigious and for Canada.
I think the Genie Awards are for. It used to be called the. I think it might have been called the Genie Award, maybe, but
Oh, maybe they changed the name. Yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
changed it because there's also a I know there's also there's a stink bug in my room and it's bugging me. Sorry.
No pun intended.
There's also a South Korean film awards called the Genie Awards.
Oh, that makes sense.
But anyway, I really like the film Blackberry, and the highlight of the film is, without a doubt, the performance from Glenn Howerton. But it was never in hell getting an Academy Award nomination, so I doubt it would have ever made it, but one can dream. At number 21 from the same year, it's the performance that I would have picked is the first in our list that is an international performance, and it is Koji Yakusho's performance in the film Perfect Days.
Yes, that was a really good movie.
It's a fantastic film, a little low key, but I feel like it would have done a lot better at that Academy Awards had it had a wider release before then, because I didn't see Perfect Days until April of 2024.
Yeah, because it didn't get a wider release until like a few weeks before the Oscar.
It did compete for Best International Film, but I feel like it deserved better. And the warmth and heart of the film is Koji Yakusho's performance as Hirayama, the public toilet cleaner who really goes through life just modestly and practically happily. It's a fantastic character study from Wim Wenders. I think it's one of his first fully Japanese films, or at least feature films. And I need to get more into Koji Yakusho's stuff. He is probably best known for films like Memoirs of a Geisha, working with Alejandro Iñárritu in the film Babel. But he's also probably best known for his work with Kiyoshi Kurosawa, especially in one of my favorite films, the 1997 horror thriller Cure, which you guys know I highly recommend, especially if you enjoyed Longlegs from last year. So the heart and soul of this highly acclaimed, fantastic Japanese film, it's Koji Yakusho in Perfect Days. And you'll notice, I believe of the last 5 years, only 5 foreign performances have been nominated for acting at the Academy Awards. These are, or maybe 6. I'll say 6. And that is the 2 performances in Minari. Since it's mostly a Korean film with some English in it as well. I say Minari is like majority Korean and with English in it as well. Choi Kutsuor, who obviously does sign language, American Sign Language.
Yeah.
Sandra Hüller in Anatomy of a Fall, although that film is part German, part French, part English. So it's hardly like incredibly international. It's incredibly international, and it's hardly like foreign totally. And the 2 performances that were nominated from last year in the film Emilia Perez. Oh, and 7. I almost forgot about Fernanda Torres in I'm Still Here.
Oh yeah.
What about Roma?
Last 5 years.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
So from 2020 to 2024.
Oh yeah, Fernanda Torres, of course.
So there's 7 out of what's 5 times 20?
100.
100 performances. Only 7. And so 7 divided by 100, that is, I don't know why I needed to calculate that. That it's 7%.
And Troy Coulter was the only one to win, right?
Of those non-English language performances, yes.
So that's like even smaller than 7% for winners.
That's 1%.
That's just 1%. Yep.
And it's American Sign Language, so it's still like in a
Yeah.
so it's still kind of English adjacent. But yeah, so you'll see I have a couple of foreign language performances in the list as well. But now we're getting to the main 20, and I know that this one is probably one Alex will agree with.
All right.
So one kind of film that I feel like the Academy doesn't really tend to notice is films made for children, or in this case for a tween audience. And the performance that I am specifically noting is Rachel McAdams for playing the mother in Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
Yes, yeah. I could argue her and Kathy Bates, honestly.
Oh, definitely. But I feel like they're both kind of almost the heart and soul of like the adult performances of the film.
Yeah. I was hoping Rachel McAdams would have gotten nominated for that.
Yeah, I believe she
I
was.
was disappointed.
Where was she nominated at that year? She was.
Yeah, so she was nominated that year for other things. I just
But the
don't.
Academy hates children.
The Academy. Yeah, the Academy would never nominate. When was the last time they've nominated a child?
That
Oh,
kid
God.
in the room.
The Kid in Room.
Oh, I thought you said The Room.
I did. I meant the kid in room.
Oh, okay.
Who's that? Jacob Tremblay?
Yes.
I think he was nominated for that. Oh wait, he might not have been nominated for that. Then if it wasn't him, then it might have been Kawinjawe Wallace for Beast of the Southern Wilds.
Yeah, it might have been that. So I'm looking at, and she was nominated in a bunch of like the internet, the national like critics, for like for each like regional awards, but not for any of the big awards places. But her performance got quite a bit of critical acclaim, and I was really surprised that her performance in this Judy Blume adaptation just didn't really go anywhere in the big critics awards, which was a shame because this film was a delight, and with kids films it could have gone much worse.
Very true.
So much worse. So, but it handles its topic of coming to age very respectfully, and it's a very good watch.
100%.
So, and like I said, Rachel McAdams, the highlight, or at least one of the highlights, and should have been nominated.
Definitely.
All right. Number 19. So in 2022, and if you're coming off of listening to our main episode, we've talked about the Palme d'Or. And one of the most surprising things at when they announced that the 2022 Best Picture lineup was the inclusion of that year's Palme d'Or winner, Triangle of Sadness. Which is a film that I, at least back then, I really liked. I've kind of like softened on it a little bit, but there is one thing about the Triangle of Sadness that I really like, and it is specifically the performance from Dolly DeLeon, who plays Abigail in the movie. I thought she was fantastic in Triangle of Sadness, how she goes from a supporting role in the second act of the film to a full role in the third, literally taking the film by the reins and controlling it and everyone on the island. I thought she was fantastic, and I was surprised that the film got so many nominations, being nominated for picture and for director and screenplay, but not for a supporting performance, which I thought was very weird. Because, I mean, it's not like it wasn't like I can understand there was like 2 performances nominated for Everything Everywhere All at Once. You had Angela Bassett, who did The Thing, and Carrie Condon, fantastic in Banshees of Inisherin. But I would have adored if they had the gumption of putting Dolly DeLeon in Triangle of Sadness. I don't know what you would if you'd agree with that or not, but
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
all right. Should I go on with the next one?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So, one thing that I feel might be a reason as to why some films and some performances and some categories were not nominated for some places might be because of their particular production companies not willing to push the film and instead pushing other films instead. And this happens a lot with our favorite streaming platform, Netflix. And I feel like it's particularly true for this film, and it's the film Passing. And the performance that I absolutely adore in the film is the performance from Ruth Negga in that film. I thought she was fantastic. And I thought the film was really good as well. It's an adaptation of an older book about a woman that meets up with an old friend who they're both black, but she is better at passing for white. And Ruth Negga plays the friend, and I thought it's was really good, very interesting, contextual, and how it talked about the concept of passing, and how and all of that and how that worked. It was personally my favorite supporting role actress of that year. I thought she was really good in it, but she was not nominated. Sure, you can argue that year pretty stacked. Ariana DeBose in West Side Story, Jessie Buckley Lost Daughter, Kirsten Dunst in Power of the Dog, and then some of the other nominees I previously mentioned before. So you can argue it's stacked, but its presence or the film Passing's lack of presence in a lot of the award ceremonies kind of leads me to believe they were more focused on pushing films like The Power of the Dog and Don't Look Up, more so than this little drama about the identity of blackness. So I probably would have preferred Passing be there over Don't Look Up, which was a bad film.
But we don't need to get into that.
Yes, we know your hatred for that film.
But I don't need to get into that. I won't get into that. But yeah, so my number 18th pick is Ruth Negga for Passing. At number 17, I think the Academy just has a vendetta against this particular actor. They've had so many great performances the last almost 20 years that went on unnoticed by the Academy. And I feel like by introducing this performance of that, do you know which performance I'm thinking of? or which actor?
No.
Zach, do you know?
I'm not sure.
All right, so the performance I'm thinking of is from the unnominated Paul Dano in the film The Fabelmans
Yeah.
for his
Oh, yes.
supporting role as Mr. Fableman, the sort of father figure that's inspired by Spielberg's dad.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't have guessed that.
He is fantastic in this film. He's really good. And it really was a year for Paul Dano, who was also did his own very very good and very like Zodiac inspired turn in The Batman.
Oh yeah.
And so he wasn't nominated for many of his great performances. There Will Be Blood, not nominated. His fantastic performance as Brian Wilson in the biopic Love and Mercy, one of the better of the musical biopics that's come out in recent years. And when it came to The Fablemans, which was nominated for picture, director, and for actress for Michelle Williams, although I'd like to argue she's supporting more or less. Personally, she's more of a supporting role, I feel. But when it came to supporting actor, they went with Judd Hirsch.
Yeah.
Who's good, but is only in the film for 10 minutes. Whereas with Paul Dano, when he's on screen, you see like the sadness of the situation, the breakdown of his relationship with Michelle Williams' character. And it's a phenomenal piece of work. And you'd think like, oh, they finally going to nominate Paul Dano for something. But no, I remember before the Oscars came out, and I think Zach will testify to this. I'm like, what if they nominate Judd Hirsch instead of Paul Dano for his like 10 minutes of screen time?
And one scene.
Yeah.
And you know
I
what?
remember that.
They fucking did. They fucking did. I should have shut my mouth because they fucking did.
So what are you saying? It's your fault.
I jinxed it. I'm saying I jinxed it. I accidentally jinxed it for Paul Dano, is what I'm saying. And he should have been nominated for his fantastic performance in The Fablemans. All right. So now we're going back to the year 2020, the weird year. And
you can continue. I will return.
No problem. And the performance that I want to talk about is from esteemed actor Mads Mikkelsen and his performance in Another Round.
Yes, that was a great performance.
It's a great performance.
Movie, which I enjoyed.
While I don't think that this is a problem with the Oscars not nominating foreign language films, I mean, the film was very much nominated. I feel like it could have almost gotten into Best Picture. It was also Thomas Vinterberg was nominated for director, and it won Best International Film as well. But I think the reason why his fantastic performance as this teacher who finds the wondrous ups and downs and tragedies involving constant day drinking and that turns into alcoholism. This fantastic performance. The reason why I think it wasn't nominated was because that acting lead category was fucking stacked. Chadwick Boseman,
was.
Riz Ahmed, Anthony Hopkins, Steven Yeun, who I recently mentioned, he's like from Minari, and Gary Oldman and Mank. That's really a stacked bunch, personally.
It is.
And there's a lot of like lead performances from this year that I think are really good. So I guess the Academy found it really hard to include someone, but I feel like I don't think they've ever nominated Mads Mikkelsen ever, and this would have been a perfect role to have showcased him. He's a very popular actor. He in a lot of well-known things. He was in Casino Royale. That's where I remember now. He grew incredibly famous for playing Hannibal Lecter, Anthony Hopkins' character, back in the 90s and early 2000s. But on the very popular television show Hannibal, he's still a very popular actor, and I think he was utterly fantastic in Another Round. Has great scenes. You really get the scene of him being drunk, and he was a very versatile in the film, and I feel like he would have been perfect for his performance to in Another Round to be nominated for an Oscar.
Definitely.
Yes. At number 15, it's the same year, but we're looking at lead actress. And I believe the bias with this one, and I'll mention it with probably one or two more, but the bias with this one, why it wasn't nominated, to me, comes down to genre bias. There are quite a few genres that the Academy Award tends not to nominate, especially for acting. Because very rarely would a film of this genre be nominated in its acting categories. It have to be very, 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 very good. But even then, in a case of like a really good performance, they tend not to nominate. They tend to find these genre films like icky. They're too icky. And the genre I'm thinking of is horror, and the performance that I'm thinking of is Elizabeth Moss in the remake of The Invisible Man.
Yeah, she was fantastic in that.
Yeah, and while I've personally decried like the recent Wolfman adaptation for by the same director Lee Whannell for it being a very similar film wherein the monster is very much supposed to be a representation of abuse. This was the first one, at least of the Universal reboot, to really take the Invisible Man and to emphasize this sort of relationship of abuse and how that transmits. And it's was really good when I watched it. It was one of the last films I watched in theaters before COVID hit. So it could also be the reason it was very early on in the year.
Yeah,
that could
they
be.
tend not to nominate things early on in the year.
And that might have also been why it was also snubbed out of visual effects, which I was fucking pissed about.
Yeah, should have at least got that.
But no, it's another one of the biases towards horror films, which we'll come back to later on. But I think the Academy Award should have nominated Elizabeth Moss for The Invisible Man. Now, at number 14, this one was last year, and it still kind of baffles me that this wasn't nominated. Was it a stacked year? Maybe, but I feel like that this was a really good performance, and it just kind of flew under some people's radar, at least the Academy's. And it was Daniel Craig in the film Queer.
Yeah, I heard he was snubbed for that.
So
I haven't
Queer,
seen it, so but
Queer was the second Luca Guadagnino film from last year. The other one being Challengers, which was also not nominated at the Academy Awards.
that was bullshit.
That was bullshit. I could have put on Josh O'Connor onto this list, but he had like a big year last year. So, but who knows? He might get in this year with one of his films premiering at Cannes, the History of Sound. That could get some Oscar buzz. But
also, Challenger's not getting the original score nomination too.
Oh yeah, that was.
Even though we won the freaking Golden Globe.
Yeah, so Daniel Craig basically plays the William Lee or Billy Lee, who is William Burroughs' sort of in character from his novel Queer. Basically plays a gay American man who lives in Mexico City, who falls in with a much younger man. And in the film, they go to South America and they go on an ayahuasca trip. But Craig really like dives in to this film, becoming this sort of like weird kind of like kind of like, I really love how he dives into this performance. Like he really like gets into it.
Yeah.
Like you really feel like he's like really the older man, like who's really like on the hunt for this younger man, you know? It's really like weird and grotesque in a way, but you can tell like it's from the author's like vision of himself. So, and if you know anything about William S. Burroughs and how sort of weird and sort of like whacked out he was in real life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he basically was one of the primary members of the Beat Generation, and he wrote the influential novel Naked Lunch. And if you've seen the Cronenberg, or at least know of some parts of the Cronenberg version of the film, you'd be like, yeah, that's kind of weird. Inspired so many musicians with his style of narration. And he also killed his wife.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he was a little crazy. Well, he accidentally shot her in a William Tell-esque stunt.
Well then.
So, but Queer was a very good, very interesting watch. Craig was nominated at the Golden Globes, the Critics' Choice, and the Screen Actors Guild, and it makes no sense to me why he also winning the award at the National Board of Review. It makes no sense to me why his performance as this gay American expatriate in the film Queer didn't land at the Academy Awards. All right. So at number 13, and I have another foreign language performance, and it is, I don't know if either of you have seen this film, but the performance that I have is for Alma Poyesti in the film Fallen Leaves. So Fallen Leaves, it's a sort of romantic dramedy from the Finnish filmmaker Aki Kaurismäki. It is basically, like two people, a guy and a girl. It's a standard, like very kind of meet cute, but it's set in a way of like a very proletarian kind of like down on the luck kind of people. It's very hard to explain the film, but it's a very, in a way, kind of heartwarming, and like I said, very like worker based film. They're like, both leads are like trying to find jobs, trying to get through life. And I felt that the performance of Alma Poyesti was really the main draw in this film. She is fantastic in the film. She was actually nominated at the Golden Globes for Best Actress in a Motion Picture Comedy or Musical. So I thought after seeing the film like in December last year, and then seeing her get nominated at the Golden Globes, I thought, is it possible that she could be nominated for the Academy Award? But while I was watching the nominations roll in, and when I didn't see the film Fallen Leaves nominated for Best International Film, then my hope for her to be nominated for Best Actress was kind of dashed. But I thought that Alma Poyesti was fantastic in the film Fallen Leaves, and I highly recommend it. I believe it is currently streaming on Mubi. All right. At number 12, we know this guy and we love him. The actor is Nicolas Cage.
Here we go.
Now, he's been in a lot of films in the last couple years, and while a lot of his recent performances have been well in the sort of satirical kind of action comedy kind of roles, I more preferred some of the more of his recent performances, the more kind of serious performances, your Mandy's, and my pick for number 12, Oscar snub, his performance in the film Pig.
Oh yeah.
Which it was a very kind of low-key kind of thriller, just about this man who forages for truffles for Portland chefs, who tries to find his missing pig. So think of it as almost like John Wick, but instead of a dog, it's a pig.
That's a good way to put it.
It's
Yeah,
a
it
good
sounds
way
good.
Yeah.
Right.
But he's very good, and it's sort of, it's one of these roles where it's like you watch him, you know Nick Cage, and you know he could be over the top, but it's never like over the top and is satirical. He's very like on point in that movie. He's very given it his all, but never over the top and never like to the point of satire. He knows what he's doing with that. And I believe that he even said that his performance in Pig is one of his personal favorites of his.
That makes sense.
Yes.
But I don't think that the Academy would have responded well, because it was a very low-key, very independent debut film. It did get a Independent Spirit Award for screenplay, and Cage was nominated for his performance at the Critics' Choice Award, but it wasn't doing anything at any of the other like big film awards. Just for he was getting awards for his acting in various regional critics associations, but he didn't get like the Golden Globe or a SAG or anything like that. So would have doubted that he would have gotten in for his performance, but I do think he is really good in the film Pig.
Yes.
All right, number 11, and you two know how much I loved Paul Thomas Anderson's film Licorice Pizza.
Yes.
And I think I'm surprised that one of the things that was not nominated about the film was its lead performances.
Which one, Haim or Hoffman?
Well, it could be either, but the one that I would have nominated would have been Elena Haim in the film, who is fantastic. And I don't even think that she's was that her first film?
It might have been.
It might have been, but she's mostly known as for being a musician.
Yeah, she's mostly known for being the one third of the sister rock pop group Haim.
And then
It is her first film, so she knocked it out of the park with that one.
It was definitely Hoffman's first movie, I think, too.
Oh, fantastic. Cooper Hoffman, just even in more, but growing into more recent work, you really see a lot of his dad in him.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
But I think Elena Haim is the performance that I think of most in the film, just as this woman who is being vied for by this young kid, and is really dragged along on the on his like side quests in a way. Very it's very good, very funny, very serious at times, and I mean, I could talk a lot about like what I think about Licorice Pizza and its meanings, and how all of the stories kind of pinpoint to something, but that might be another day. I'd love to write like a review. I've been meaning to for the last like 3.5 years. But if I was to control the Academy Awards in 2021, I would have nominated Elena Haim for her performance in Licorice Pizza. All right, now we're down to the top 10. We're down to the top 10. I'm hoping to get this done in an hour. All right. At number 10, and this goes back to just a film distributor that kind of fucked up a film and its awards contention, and at least with this performance. Because another performance was nominated, and it is Clarence Macklin in his debut film Sing Sing, where he plays himself.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Sing Sing is a true story, and one of the highlights, besides Coleman Domingo, who is fantastic as Divine G, one of the performances that was really striking is Clarence Macklin, who gives his debut performance as himself. I mean, who else is better at playing you than yourself?
Right?
Exactly.
And a lot of the draw with the film Sing Sing is the fact that a lot of them are the actual people or former people who are incarcerated in Sing Sing.
Yeah, one of the English classes I work for, actually, we watched because we're reading a book called A Lesson Before Dying, and in the book before, well, the teacher played a video from, I think it was Dateline, comparing the book to a famous person, like a person that should not have been in prison, and that person's also, I learned, would later be in Sing Sing, and his name's John Adrian J.J. Velasquez.
Oh.
He's also plays himself in Sing Sing.
Yeah, the only people who don't play the character in which they're playing is Coleman Domingo. Obviously, he wasn't in Sing. He wasn't a prisoner, and Paul Raci, who plays like the person who writes and puts on the stage productions in the film. But really, from the moment I saw this film, I knew Clarence Macklin. You're a standout. You should be vying for that Academy Award nomination. You deserve that nomination. And then when it came out, Sing Sing didn't get Best Picture, which still pisses me off.
Yes, and yet they give it to Amelia Perez.
Which we don't need to get into that. I know we don't really care for Amelia Perez. This much is known. Um, but we can go past that. But yes, and the thing that should have been nominated in this film is Clarence Macklin for his performance in Sing Sing. All right, so number 9. Here's another performance that is way too indie. I doubt it would have been nominated. But it's a 2020 film, and I mean that year was fucked.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So I doubt independent films were going to be that well nominated. It would just be films that were really on the radar during this weird streaming period, the COVID days.
So when you say independent, do you mean a film like Minari?
No, I mean a film that gets like less than $1 million in its box office.
Oh. You said
The-
2020, so I thought of Minari.
Yeah, I'm thinking of like how the film First Cow wasn't nominated, or how the film that we're talking about, Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always, was not nominated. I would have nominated Sydney Flanagan in her acting debut in the film Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. So she plays a 17-year-old 17-year-old girl named Autumn, who is pregnant and decides to have an abortion, and is taken by a friend to a abortion clinic in the film, and it's basically all about the trials and tribulations of going through that the trip, the procedure, reliving like everything that happened with the pregnancy and everything like that, and there's a lot of fantastic moments, and it's really raw. And the reason why uh, I've grown a lot more with this performance, I kind of was thinking a lot more about this film and how it resonates a lot more, and how it may resonate a lot more with young girls and women in a post-Roe America,
Right.
and how what she goes through and what she has to live in, it really feels very emotional, and it feels very real. And it's very sad that there was absolutely no way in hell this was going to be nominated. But in a perfect world, she would have been nominated, and even in a more perfect world, win. Personally, my favorite performance from that year, at least in the actress category. I've grown on that. I've grown around to that, actually.
But you know what's weird? This movie, around the time this movie came out, it had a really weird critics audience ratio on Rotten Tomatoes. It was like 14 in audience, but it has since gone up to 55. But the way
It's probably because it's about abortion, and being about abortion and that is woke.
But the way you
That makes
describe
automatically
this,
people hate it.
the way you describe this movie, though, it just sounds like that 4 months, 3 weeks, 2 days.
It's
Like
probably inspired by that.
Like an American version of it, if you will. What else do we have?
Oh, okay. So that was number 9, and at number 8, I have Dominic Sessa for his debut performance in the film The Holdovers.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yep, definitely.
For playing Angus Tully. He is fantastic. It's one of these performances where you watch, you love it. He's up against 2 fantastic performances as well, and still holds his own. And then you come to the surprising realization it's his first film.
Right.
Wow,
And
that's amazing.
And while I definitely wouldn't have taken away Paul Giamatti's nomination, nor Divine Joy Randolph's nomination and win. She's fantastic in the film. I feel that Dominic Sessa is a snub in a way. Although, the reason why I think is because not as well known as the other two performers, and also that supporting actor category was stacked that year.
Yes.
So I think that's all I got to say for Dominic Sessa.
Number 7.
So hoping to see him in the Anthony Bourdain film that he's making currently.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. It's about his time in P-Town as a chef.
Oh, cool.
So at number 7, and Alex, I know you will be 100% behind this.
All right.
And while Sean Baker's films were not incredibly big with the Academy until last year.
I think I know you're going with this. It's something to do with Red Rocket, right?
Yes. This performance was a standout from 2021, and it is Simon Rex from Red Rocket as the asshole adult film star from Texas who ends up back in his hometown. Very funny, and very definitely like in the mode of these characters that really permeate the world of Sean Baker. And it was really like a type of like thing where we get to see a glimpse of what would eventually become with a film like Honora, and what we had seen previously with the performance of Willem Dafoe, who is a lot more of the sort of positive end of the spectrum of a Sean Baker film, who is like kind of a sort of moral center in that film. Whereas with Simon Rex, he is definitely not a moral center, but
oh no,
he really puts on that sort of disgusting charm in the film that is lovely to watch. So I don't think the Academy Award would have nominated Red Rocket for anything, but in a perfect world, they probably should have nominated it for Simon Rex performances in Red Rocket.
It's just, I will say this. I feel like we've talked about this before, but it's just the scene when he's running around the street naked to NSYNC's Bye Bye Bye. I just think
one of my
hilarious.
favorite scenes from that year. All right, at number 6, and this is a very recent one. And it's a genre film, but it's the snub of this particular performance doesn't make sense because this film did remarkably well in a lot of other categories. And the performance I'm talking about is Margaret Qualley's performance in The Substance.
Yeah, no, there were some people I'd nominate over her. Anyone in Amelia Perez.
Yeah, it makes so much. It doesn't make a lot of sense on why Demi Moore, who is fantastic, and I wouldn't have taken away her nomination at all, is nominated for The Substance, but yet they don't nominate Margaret Qualley, who is just as good and is really vying for like who's the better one in The Substance. I loved Margaret Qualley in The Substance just as much as I really liked Demi Moore in The Substance, and personally is my pick for Best Supporting Actress of 2024, personally. So when it came to the Academy Awards, I see The Substance in makeup and screenplay and actress, but and director and picture, but when it came to supporting actress, she's not there. If it were me, I would have taken out, and I'm sorry, Zoe Saldana, but I would have taken you out and replaced you with Margaret Qualley. I don't care if you're the best performance in a shitty film, it's still a shitty film. I would have replaced you with the much better, much deserved winner, Margaret Qualley in The Substance.
At least she didn't have the most cringe speech of the night, even though her speech was.
At number 5, I have. Oh yeah, it is my last foreign language performance. So, and it is Lenat Reinsva for her performance in The Worst Person in the World. Now, I loved Worst Person in the World when it came out, and I feel like I like it even more than the Best International Film that won that particular year, which was Drive My Car, only by just slightly, because I feel like Worst Person in the World just hits all of those perfect notes for the romantic comedy in the modern age, the romantic comedy of the sort of uh, like the Gen Z era person who has to deal with all the things within the modern world and their shortcomings and how what they do and what they do wrong and how it affects other people. And she really is the center of the film, and she is fantastic. And it really is sad that even though this film got nominations in international film and surprisingly in original screenplay, she didn't get the nomination for actress. And I thought she was fantastic. I don't know if either of you have seen the film, but I really like it. And I feel like one of the problems is that I didn't see Worst Person in the World in 2021. I saw it in April of 2022. So it came out well after the Academy Awards.
I've seen it as well.
I've seen it. I thought it was excellent.
And
But she was
personally,
great.
I put it in my list for the films of 2022 because I didn't want to put it in retroactively. But had I seen it and had I got a much wider, much bigger, a louder distribution in 2021, I feel like it would have made a much huger splash, and Renate Reinsva would have been nominated for her performance in Worst Person in the World. Now, who would I have taken? Who would I have taken out for her to be in there? I don't want to say.
Because you don't know. That's fine.
I do know, but I don't want to be controversial.
Fair enough.
All right. So my number 4, and this goes back to genre films, particularly horror films. And I wonder if Zach will know who I'm talking about.
That's another horror film.
Mm-hmm.
Is it something to do with Get Out?
No.
Oh, okay.
Last 5 years. I would say, if I had to guess, something from Nope.
No. Although Keke Palmer from Nope was on my long list. Trust me, I had like a big long list for the Snubs.
I'm trying to think of what it could be. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, you're going to kick yourself over this one, Zach, because I know it's from one of your favorite series. So I have at number 4, Mia Goth playing Pearl in the film Pearl.
Oh, yes. I should have got that. Yes.
Now, I loved X when that came out, and I really loved its Giallo sort of grindhouse horror aesthetic. And then when Pearl came out, I absolutely adored what it was doing with harkening to golden age cinema with its cinematography and score, which I thought were also fantastic. But at the center was this performance from Mia Goth, who plays someone who is not all there, someone who is sexually repressed, someone who is on the verge of madness, someone who wants to take the world by storm, someone who is insane. And I really like that. But it's a horror film, or rather, it's a slasher. Not a traditional slasher, by the way, but a slasher nonetheless. It was never getting nominated at the Academy Awards. It was that
Yeah.
Mia Goth's performance got Best Actress in a Horror Movie at the Critics' Choice Super Awards, which are the awards for like genre films. And she was also nominated for lead in at the Independent Spirit Awards, but that's about it. Other than the various regional or like regional film critics associations, which I don't want to list
I'm
because it'd
curious.
be like San Francisco,
She's gonna play.
Seattle.
She's gonna play Elizabeth in the new Frankenstein movie.
Yeah, makes sense.
Mm.
So I feel the Academy Awards need to man up and actually choose more genre films, hopefully with the substance. We're going to get more of that. And nominate performances much like Mia Goth in Pearl. All right, so we're at the top three. So at number 3, and I know you guys kept hearing me say this in 2023, 2024. One of my favorite performances, supporting performances from that 2023 was Charles Melton in May December.
Yes.
I thought he was fantastic as this adult man who is the just part of a relationship that is incredibly gross, incredibly parasitic. A man who initially imagines it as something as love, but through the film realizes how manipulative and awful this relationship is, but it's never really fully. There's so many things going on with this film that's really good from Todd Haynes, who has gotten some love from the Academy, but never all there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think any of his films have been nominated for Best Picture, even though he's done some really acclaimed work, like Carol, for instance, Far From Heaven, his film Safe, fantastic film with Julianne Moore, film viewers film.
Yep.
His fantastic version of a biographical film, specifically for Bob Dylan in the film I'm Not There. So Todd Haynes has been a filmmaker who never got in that much love from the Academy. And also, to put everything on top, the people who acquired May December was Netflix. Fucking Netflix.
Those bitches.
Fucking Netflix. Those fucking whores. They fucking take. Like, I also had Glenn Powell from Hitman on this as well, because he was also like, by the end of the year, no one was thinking of it because they didn't market Hitman. They just had the film in theaters for 1 week, and then they put it on Netflix, and then nobody talked about it after that because they're awful at this. They take good films with great performances in them that could get so much acclaim, that could get so many awards for them, and they just bump it. They just don't care about it. I don't know.
Yeah, they're whores.
They're whores. And Charles Melton was my favorite supporting performance from that year, even more so than the eventual winner, who's now fucking doing Doctor Doom.
Oh, Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, fucking hell.
So basically, the MCU is not canon anymore. That's bullshit.
Wait, what?
No, they're doing like him. They're probably gonna do like he's Doctor Doom or something. I don't know what they're gonna do with that, but no.
What I mean, like Zach, is that he was Iron Man and now he's fucking Doctor Doom. Like,
I think it's probably something with that multiverse thing.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a multiverse thing. Like he's from another universe. So anyway, Charles Melton, Oscar snub, May, December, bullshit. Number 2, this is from last year. One of the best performances from last year. And this was for Marianne Jean-Baptiste for Hard Truths. And she is phenomenal as this person. You know the type of person who complains about everything? When you try to help them, they always kind of chastise you and wonder why you're helping them, and always blame you for stuff. But when you tell them to just do something or to be better at something, they always complain about how they have something's wrong and this and that, and how they have anxiety and all these problems, and always put it on someone else. You know that type of person?
oh yeah.
Marianne Jean-Baptiste plays that person to a T. And at times it's hilarious, but in times it is tragic. It's just really good as this person who feels put on by the world and only realizes the reasons why is herself. And all I've heard from the last year is people who love this performance in this Mike Leigh film. And Mike Leigh, who's a great director, he wrote the screenplay. His screenplay was also snubbed as well.
Huh.
I feel like this film might become one of like a classic in Mike Leigh's filmography, and just a classic film that is really like a look into a sort of a Black experience, a Black family, and it just wasn't nominated at the Academy Awards. It was nominated at the Gotham Awards. It was a independent film win at the National Board of Review. Marianne Jean-Baptiste won the New York Film Critics Circle. That's one of the earliest and one of the big film critics awards, at least regionally. She got in at the Critics' Choice. She got in at the BAFTAs. So I'm just surprised that it wasn't as big. But Amelia Perez. I know I said I didn't want to complain about it, but Amelia Perez, Carla Sofia Gascon, get it? She's not even the supporting lead. So she's not even the lead of the film. She's supporting. I know she plays Amelia Perez, but it's clear Zoe Saldana is the lead, and
Should we move on?
Yes, we can move on. So I highly recommend Hard Truths, and I highly recommend Marianne Jean-Baptiste's performance in the film. Now, we come to number one. Who do you think is my number one? Just take a wild guess.
I'm not sure. I would say
Give me a hint on the year.
2020.
Um,
2020.
I will say this is an instance of another film that was fucked by Netflix.
Is it? It's not the Chicago 7. It's a
Nope.
Hillbilly Elegy.
Now you're joking with me.
Yes, I am. Yeah, I give up.
Zach?
I would say, if I had to guess, Pieces of a Woman.
Nope.
That's my guess, because I know that was Netflix.
Yeah, I have no idea.
All right. So my number one pick for the Oscar snub of 2020, and I was 100% sure this would make it into the 5. And it was Delroy Lindo in The Five Bloods, a film that was, in my opinion, unduly snubbed by the Academy, only getting one nomination for score.
Oh, yeah.
And of the characters in the film in this fantastic ensemble film, the highlight of the film is Delroy Lindo, who plays this old, aged Vietnam War vet turned Trump supporter.
Yeah.
And you would think with a film where we have a main character who's a black Trump supporter that he would be the butt of all the jokes, that he would be like kind of one-dimensional, that if the film is being written from a more liberal point of view, we would just laugh at him. But Delroy Lindo and Spike Lee put in so much depth into his character and so much intrigue, and he's fantastic with this performance that it's really one of the better of the character studies that we've got from this type of character. And it just really surprises me that the Academy did not take at all to this film after they took so incredibly well to Spike Lee's previous film, Black Klansman.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like they almost did a 180 back to Spike Lee who?
Yeah, pretty much.
Right.
It's like they didn't nominate Do the Right Thing, and then it's like
Malcolm X.
Malcolm X only had like one nomination, and that movie's fantastic. And it's like then he gets like the most acclaim that he ever gotten for a film, and then his next film, which was shat onto Netflix and duly forgotten by April of the next year, they didn't care.
What was that
crazy?
Netflix movie?
I think.
What was that Netflix movie even called?
Huh?
What was that next movie he made even called?
Oh, I don't think he released one until.
I don't think Spike Lee's done a movie since that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
until this year, where
Oh yeah, this year.
yeah,
That's what I'm thinking of.
A24 and Apple TV Plus are releasing his next film, Highest to Lowest, which is a remake of the Kurosawa film High and Low.
Huh. Well, we all know how it went when he remade Old Boy, so
I have high hopes, at least for this,
We
because
shall see.
High and Low is a great film, although the original Old Boy is a great film too. So, but I feel this is way more in line with Spike Lee's wheelhouse, but more so than Old Boy was.
is that it?
So yeah, my number one pick, Delroy Lindo in the Spike Lee joint, The Five Bloods, is my number one pick.
There you go. Nice. You did
It's
it.
And
mini
what do you think?
episode.
What do you think of the list?
I liked it.
I liked it too. It was a nice job. Definitely all were deserving.
Hmm. Oh, now, Alex, did you download the
The first part, yes.
Oh, nice. You don't worry. I was gonna. I'll edit this part. I'll edit this.
Yeah, I'll
segment.
do the first part. You do this one. Yeah, I'll get it to you tomorrow.
All right.
All right. Good night.
Bye.
Bye. Good night, everybody.
Good night.